When Renata first saw him, this cat looked like he was turning into stone. His fur was stiff with thick scabs, and he moved slowly like every step hurt. But what really broke her heart, he didn't run when she came closer. He was too hungry to be afraid. So she had the sinking feeling someone abandoned him. And all she wanted to do was give his life back. Every morning, the cat stayed near a small grocery store because people sometimes threw scraps there for stray cats. And somehow, he survived by waiting there every day. So Renata immediately decided to buy him cat food. At first, he didn't even understand what it was. But the moment he realized it was food, he started eating desperately. Like he didn't know when his next meal would come. And from that moment, everything started changing. The second time Renata came back, he already recognized her. He started meowing at her with a deep, distinctive cry, which he never used with anyone else. Soon, he began rubbing against her legs and asking for affection, and it completely surprised her. Because despite how rough he looked, he was incredibly loving. So Renata started calling him Prince, and every time she called him, he came running. But the more she saw him, the more impossible it became to walk away. Because he was painfully thin, weak, covered in mange, and barely holding on. At the time, she called him Halloween, mostly because he looked like a tiny zombie. He walked hunched over from pain and weakness, and nobody knew if he would recover. So Renata decided to help him, scooped him up, and raced to the vet. While he was focused on eating, they started running tests. And honestly, the results were much worse than anyone expected. The cat's entire body was fighting him, infections and malnutrition. Everyone was like, is he going to make it? He needed medications every 12 hours. And there was one huge problem. Renata worked all day and Halloween only appeared in the mornings. She became terrified something would happen to him while she was gone, so she started asking followers and friends for help. Then, veterinarian Yara offered to hospitalize him, and they decided to start treatment immediately. But even getting him into the carrier was difficult. The second Renata placed him inside, he panicked. He tried so hard to escape that he injured his nose.
Agora é todo menininho que passeia no carro, não é?
And during his first bath, he became so scared that he bit the veterinarian. But after that, he never acted aggressively again.
Bem bonito seu. Ei, olha aqui.
Because underneath all the fear, he still wanted love. There were many moments when Renata thought he might not survive, but one thing kept giving her hope. He never stopped fighting. Even when he was weak, he still wanted food and affection. And he still tried to recover. It was like he refused to give up. Then finally, something started changing. After his first bath, almost 400 grams of scabs came off his body, and he looked like a different cat. It was like an actual weight was lifted. Almost overnight, he became more active, and as soon as people could safely touch him, he started making biscuits non-stop. He nuzzled into everyone around him, and it honestly felt like gratitude.
céu, tu quer ir pra onde?
He even started to groom himself again, something so basic for most cats, but he couldn't do it before. Day after day, he kept improving. Within about a month, his mange and tick-borne disease were finally under control. Even then, he was still very thin, but once he moved in with Renata, he started gaining weight quickly.
Você nem sabe se os bichos estão. Aqui, ó. Olha que olho bonito.
Until then, Renata had still been calling him Halloween, but after everything he survived, the name no longer fit him. Her friends started joking that he looked like a little Renato because of Renata's name, and somehow, the nickname of Renatinho stuck. It became the perfect name for his new life. He still had a long road ahead, but Renata already knew one thing for sure. They were going through this journey together. So she adopted him, and he adjusted to home life surprisingly fast. He followed Renata everywhere, and when he was alone, he cried until she came back. Slowly, he also started learning how to just be a cat.
Feliz Dia da Mãe, mamãe.
Before, he didn't even know how to play, and now he started to try. He also learned to eat calmly. And then came the moment Renata would never forget. One day, he stretched out completely on the bed while sleeping. Before that, he always slept curled up tightly like he was protecting himself. But the moment he fully relaxed, Renata knew he finally felt safe. Before finding Renatinho, Renata had been struggling with depression for nearly 2 years. But watching him transform changed something in her too. She feels like they saved each other.
Vocês que são do inglês.
And today, Renatinho is affectionate, loyal, curious, and playful. Like a totally normal, happy cat. And he's deeply attached to Renata. Sometimes, he wakes her up by softly sniffing her. Other times, he simply stays beside her all day. And even now, it feels like he improves a little more every single day. Renata hopes her story inspires more people to take chances on rescues. Because sometimes all it takes is one person who refuses to walk away.